Hi everyone, Catherine here from Inky Finger Cat, back with a Christmas in July stroke January project. So for those who don't know, I run a Facebook group which is giving us a prompt every month for Christmas, and it's basically where we celebrate and share Christmas projects all year round. And then obviously I go slightly mad in July and I do a project every day. So I'll leave the link in the description box below for the Facebook group. Our prompt for this month was, do you want to build a snowman? And there's been some fab snowman cards already shared in the group. And I decided I wanted to use the Mama Elephant stamp. Now I will admit this is now the third time I have done this voiceover, because the first one didn't save, the second one worked, I uploaded it, it's been on YouTube, and somebody's lovely Stephanie has messaged me and gone, you do know you've got two voiceovers going? So I don't know what happened there. So I'm going to make sure I double check this one before it goes up all live, and that you've only got one voiceover. Now you'll see there I have stamped the stamp in Memento. I then chose from the colour cube a colour scheme, which is a weird colour scheme because it looks a bit autumnal rather than wintry. But the way I chose it for this one was I literally took out the section, which is the winter section, looked at the cards, which ones appealed to me, and this one appealed to me. I wanted to colour it in with my pro markers, which is why I'd used Memento, so alcohol markers. I actually ended up with a mix of pro markers and my stamping blends. Admittedly, my colours end up being slightly more pinky coral than orangey coral, if that makes sense. But I still think it looks reasonably good. I do fiddle around. This isn't exactly the colour combo that I ended up with. So I end up with, I remember it being starfish and coral. And then cool grey 1. And then I have, from my stamping blends, I have the Mossy Meadow Dark and I have Smoky Slate Dark. I think that's not bad memory because this was actually filmed a couple of days ago, and obviously I'm now having to, in the background, go, ooh, panic, and do my voiceover. So I started colouring in. I am not colouring with any level of skill here. I'm just trying to colour within the lines. There's no shading or anything like that happens. I'm literally just adding little bits of colour all around. What I'm trying to do though is not go left to right or right to left, depending on which way you colour, because I want to make sure I am spacing the colour out so it's sort of evenly spread amongst the picture, because obviously there's a lot of white in here. It's snowmen and, you know, or snow people. Some of them might be snow girls, who knows. But yeah, I didn't want it to be clumps of colour, so, or a gradation of colour or anything like that, so I am going across. Now the Mossy Meadow I use on definitely some hats and stuff, but also those holly leaves, and although non-traditional, the star, what did I call it, starfish, yeah, I think it's starfish colour, the sort of slightly more orangey of the colours. That one I used for the little birds and for the berries on the holly, along with some other elements in there. And then I did bring in the darker grey, the Smoky Slate Dark, in order to bring in some sort of darker, more neutral colours as well. Then all the snowmen, I then wanted to add a little bit of shading. Sorry, at this point I'm still going through. Oh, carrot nose is what yeah, all of the noses were all in that star fruit. Right, then I moved on to my little snowmen. I just wanted to add a little bit of definition and dimension to them to make them look a little bit more 3D. So where I thought there might be a shadow, either they were standing behind another snowman or underneath their chin or underneath the brim of a hat, I have added some shading. So I've done all of that with the cool grey 1. Now it's quite subtle. It's not like in your face, but I do think it really helps to just bring them to life a little bit and give them a bit of dimension. So it took a little while to do all this colouring. I think I did speed this up quite a bit. Oh no, maybe it was all at ×4. I can't remember now, I'm really sorry. But it did take a while because it's kind of fiddly because they're small pieces, but it's not difficult fiddly, if you know what I mean. Now, time to choose some cardstocks to mount them with. First port of call for me, as always, go to scraps and things that I've already cut into. And I found this beautiful coral colour. It's like a dark coral that it's definitely a Kingston Crafts card, but I can't remember which set it came from. I'm really sorry. And then I chose to do my card base with the basic grey from Stampin' Up. So I'm just going to choose my layers and decide what I'm doing here. So I'm going to trim my panel down, and that does mean cutting a few of my snowmen in half, or snow people in half is what happened. But I think it's fine how it looks like that. I think it sort of shows that there's even more of them, this crowd of snowmen. Now, at this point, I have been doing quite a lot of scrapbooking in the last few weeks, and I am matting and layering everything. I don't know, I'm just in a complete mat and layer place, and what's more, I'm also in a gutting cardstock place in my head, and I don't know where it's come from. It's just something I do at the moment, so this has quite a lot of mats and layers. What it's also got is me outlining the panel with the dark grey. I actually used a cool grey 5 for this one, pro marker, just to edge it with the sort of chisely edge. I actually don't think I used the chisel edge on that. I should have done. Do advise you to use it with your pointy edge or your brush marker, but I obviously got away with it. Then I decided I wanted to put it on the card on a slight angle, and therefore I would have this little bit exposed, and I wanted to emboss it. But first I went and decided to choose a sentiment. Now, you know me, I do sentiments in advance where possible, rather than on the actual time that I'm doing the project, unless I'm after a really specific colour. The specific colour I was after was Mossy Meadow, and I'd got one already done. So perfect. That's a waffle flower sentiment, and I have stamped and die cut it and stacked it already, so it's perfect and ready to go. Now I've chosen it's quite an old snowflake embossing folder. It's only a 2D one, but it works perfectly well, and so I've got that for going onto my coral base, and here you can see me once again gutting cardstock. The hilarious thing about me gutting cardstock, especially on the other panel, the grey panel with the snowman, is I end up sticking them all back in, and more besides, because I decided I wanted to mount it up a little bit, so it got a bit more dimension. So I actually chose to use another piece of the grey cardstock, as well as the bit I'd cut out, in order to mount it up. So I gutted it in order to fill it and then make it even bigger. Don't know what was going on. Right, so this is pretty much the front of the cardstock, the card blank done. I'm going to add my sentiment now. I will come back and do some finishing touches at the end. I will talk about that in a minute. But inside my card, I am now going to add a panel, because I am very much about doing the insides of cards this year. That's been my thing so far, is to concentrate not just on the front, but also do something on the inside. Not always something big and fancy, but just a little something. This Mama Elephant stamp set comes with the 2 little snowmen heads that are separate, and a few accessories. So I'm just adding a little hat and a little bird. And then again, I'm just going to colour these in so that they link to the front of the card, so that there's some linkage to them. And again, bringing in that tiny little bit of the shading for the dimension, to show that they are 3D snowmen. And again, I have brought in that cool grey. This time I am using the chisel edge like a sensible person and not ruining my nib, to just do the outlining of the edge. I had thought about here whether I wanted to add in cardstock or not, and I decided nope, I was just going to stick it to the top of that panel. Perfect, job's done for the inside. Makes it look special and a bit different, but it links to the front. This is my finishing touch. I am obsessed with Wink of Stella at the moment. Talking to my friend about this at the weekend. I am just Wink of Stellaing everything. I don't know what's going on. that Matin Alone and Wink of Stella seems to have been my thing of late. I don't know what's going on, but I just love the shimmer. I did end up sort of, here we go, this is where I slightly flood my pen. So the rest of the shimmer is very shimmery. You can see how that one turned colour a little bit to become very shimmery. This one is the Champagne Wink of Stella, so it is slightly tinted in a slightly goldy silvery kind of way. But it's still relatively clear. You can still see the colour underneath. It does just slightly tint it. And here we go. Hopefully you can see a little bit of that shimmer because I slowed the video down for you. And you might be able to see it anyway on the close-ups that are coming up now. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. Hopefully this video means that I have managed to sort out my voiceover issues if you've seen this. I hope that that's good and that you've been able to follow along. I've really enjoyed using that colour scheme. What's hilarious is my friend Deb has also used the same card this week on a blog on her blog. It's just funny that she used the same one completely at random. Please do subscribe if you want to see future videos. Obviously the like and the comments below, always appreciated. But other than that, thanks so much for watching. And until next time, bye-bye.